Alright, well, here I am, about to start reflecting on all the revisions I just did. So, starting with Project 1, I guess for the cover letter for the cover letter, I pretty much just followed what you said for me to do for obvious reasons. I had a lot of grammar mistakes in there, and that was really bugging me. And double spaces after periods, it's going to be a pain in the ass for me to try to stop, but I've been really trying hard to not put double spaces after periods. I've been doing that since I was 5, so that's going to be a pain in the ass to try to stop doing, us and our habits. But anyway, on to the report itself. Mostly the cover letter was just grammar issues and those double spaces after the period, so those definitely needed to get fixed. I fixed a couple of grammar issues in the report too, and followed basically what you told me, what you suggested that I changed. So to start with, I changed it from being a question in the intro. It makes a lot more sense now to not have it as a question, just straight up statement. And there were a couple other points throughout the report where I saw that I was actually asking a question, and that was kind of silly. And so I made sure that wasn't happening anymore. And that went into this other one where I needed to change the report throughout to not mention what New Mexico should do, because that's more of a proposal. It's not really a report, so I had to go through and change that. Made sure and I went through and really went through and explained why it's important to compare New Mexico to other states and countries. I just put a little blurb in there just to make sure that the audience understands that needs to be in their back of the mind, is why it's important to compare the two. Just like you suggested, just like you suggested. And then I was talking about in that first part, I compared New Mexico to the rest of the United States, and I had for some reason mentioned Finland in there, and that doesn't really make any sense for that whole thing. So I made sure that I was just referencing New Mexico and the other states in that whole little section. And and then later on, earlier I'd said that I wanted to modularize it and set it into separate pages and stuff, but in this case it made it kind of look ugly because each section wasn't very long. When I've written other reports by themselves, each section was like 3 or 4 pages in itself, so it made sense to section them off like that. But in this case, since some of them ended up only being about half a page, I really just needed to combine them up. Otherwise I just had a bunch of dead space and it looked bad. So now it's down to like 8 pages, I think, but so it looks a lot better. And yeah, and then I fixed another grammar thing. Making sure that I didn't begin any sentences with percents or numbers, but like I said before in that email, it's not exactly something I think about when I'm writing it, but it's as from what I'm hearing from my field, a lot of companies pay good money to have the engineers write the report, but then somebody comes back through, they pay an editor to come back through and make sure that it makes sense to everybody else besides just the engineer, right? And I guess that's part of this guy here too. So anyway, my little grammar mistakes all over the place. So, and then the proposal, there wasn't a whole lot to change there, but I decided not to change Really, the one thing that you told me to. I know, what a lazy jerk. But the titles, I decided to not have a title slide because I wanted to lead with the current issue. I wanted to tell the audience what the current issue is, and then then the current issue is right in the back of their mind when I go in to introduce the program, and they understand, all right, kids are getting fat, they're not going out into the woods, right? We need this program because our kids are getting fat. Or I didn't really mention a whole lot about them being fat. I'm just being mostly it's getting them out into the wilderness and exploring this and trying to get them to protect it. But I mean, that has nothing to do with this right now. But so yeah, with the current issue in mind, it's going to be in their back of the mind right when so then they can understand right away what we need the program for. So that's why I didn't have a title slide, but also it was going to be a lot of extra work to try to get that in there, and I wasn't sure exactly how I needed to do that. And well, it is 3 in the morning. Anyway, I really had fun with this class. I think I learned a lot, especially when it comes to writing reports and stuff, because I've been doing that a lot this semester. I think I made that pretty clear in some of my other reflections, but I've written a lot. Anyway, this one was more fun because I actually got to play around with it a little bit and doing stuff like this, where I just have essentially a little video with this cute little background on it. But it's a little more interesting than just sitting here typing up a bunch of data sheets. So I definitely had fun. It's nice to think about different ways that I can entice my audience. So, but anyway, that's it. Thank you very much.